Welcome to Millenarian News. I'm your host, Albert Sun. Here at Millenarian News, we interview historical leaders who have envisioned and enacted or attempted to enact structural transformation of their respective societies. Last week we met with Jehovah and his witnesses. This week we're meeting with someone on the other side of the globe. It's the year 1853, and we're about to conduct an interview with Hong Xiuquan, leader of the Taiping government. Mr. Hong doesn't know this, but many of his policies, such as communist land sharing, were revered by future revolutionary thinkers in China, such as the communist Mao Zedong and the nationalist parties Sun Zhongshan. Mr. Hong joins us today after a recent victory in Nanjing, having captured and made Nanjing the new place for his heavenly palace. Thank you for joining us. Could you please introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Hong Xiuquan, and I'm the heavenly king, or the Huangdi, of the Taiping Tianguo, or the Taiping Kingdom of Great Peace. You may know me better as Jesus' little brother.
Sorry, did you just say Jesus' little brother?
Yeah, Shangdi, or for you Westerners, God, decided to have a son in the great south of China back in 1814. That was me. It's the best move he's made since he had my big bro.
Thank you. Now, I know you've been fighting battles for your new heavenly kingdom, the Taiping Tianguo. I was wondering if you could tell us a little more about this kingdom.
Sure, I'm actually here to advertise the Taiping Tianguo. Right now we have 60,000 followers. In contrast to the Yao Manchu-based, ineffective Qing dynasty, we are a kingdom inspired by Protestant Christianic religion. Things are working out. I even have my own royal insignia and stamp.
Interesting. What's your role in this kingdom?
I'm the religious and political leader. But in reality, I spend most of my time meditating, rewriting the Bible, or entertaining one of my 86 consorts. Beautiful consorts.
Okay. So, what led you to creating this kingdom?
Now, I'm no dumb bloke, but after my 8th time failing the 8-pronged civil service examination, I saw a God. God, actually now I call him Baba. We had a little talk.
God?
Yes, not Buddha, not Lao Tzu, not Kongzi. We're talking about a fusion between a Christian God and Shangdi, the traditional Chinese God. Father doesn't believe in prostitution, foot binding, opium, slavery, adultery, gambling, alcohol, or tobacco. These are things that the Qing imperial government are engrossed in. In other words, he has told me to carry on his mission in opposition to the evil Yao Qing dynasty.
Interesting. Why do you think the Qing are evil or demonic?
The status quo Chinese imperial government is incompatible to the classical Chinese religious order. Ever since the creation of the Chinese Empire with Qin Shi Huangdi, Chinese emperors have placed themselves above Shangdi. This is outrageous. I want to restore the traditional Chinese culture and religious order to the good old days of kingship alongside Shangdi. This religious failure has corrupted the empire in so many ways.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, you can see the failure of the Qing Empire in its massive inequality, corruption, destruction of morality, and failure to defend itself against foreign powers. We gotta go back to our roots, guys. We gotta go back to our roots as Chinese folk.
You had mentioned that the Qing have failed to promote equality. What is the Taiping Tianguo doing differently in this regard?
What we're doing differently, we're all about female equality, and we're all about shared land practices.
All right, let's take that one by one. Female equality?
Men and women have equal rights in the Taiping Tianguo. Unlike the Qing dynasty, women can serve in the military and take civil service examinations.
Interesting. Now, can you tell us about those shared land practices?
Oh, definitely. We believe in communal land owning. The Qing have perpetuated massive landholding inequalities for decades on end. In fact, that's why so many of their farmers come to us. 太平天国 will not make the same mistakes as the scandalous Qing.
Farmers? Who exactly are your supporters?
Mainly peasants and frustrated scholar officials.
Why do the peasants support you?
Well, poor, frustrated peasants come to me because the Qing government can no longer spend money on public projects such as the Grand Canal and other irrigation ditches that these peasants depend on. These are high costs of things like the Opium War. The emperor is letting Qing silver coffers bleed out.
Why do the scholar officials?
The population in China is growing extremely fast, and the Qing isn't expanding positions for scholar officials. Tests are getting harder, and people who are even passing these tests are not even offered positions at the end. You can imagine why these officials or these intellectuals are coming to me.
These all seem to be contingent political factors. How does the establishment of a new political order fit into your religious motives?
See, it's a religious movement that uses politics for religious ends. We identify repeated failures of the sacrilegious Qing dynasty and radically solve them. People aren't just coming to me because I'm charismatic. It's the Qing government that has a political failure right now.
All right, now, let's be truthful. Do you foresee any witnesses in your government? For instance, the military?
None. We are a millenarian government, meaning we draw upon the muscle and power of the thousands. Real change needs to happen, and we will win by sheer numbers. Again, I already have 60,000 very committed believers who will fight to the very end.
All right, what about economic weakness?
I see none. For the next few years, as we expand, our religious movement will take over the tax revenue and food from local communities. Money won't be an issue like it was for the Qing. We'll use communal land owning and subsistence farming instead of ineffective imperial land policy.
Finally, what about political weaknesses?
Now, I'll admit, communities might shift hands a few times throughout the next few years as I consolidate my land. But Shangdi has chosen me, so it's all for the greater good. We'll come up on top at the end. He has said so himself.
Thank you. Now we're about to wrap up. Do you have any extra or last words you have for our viewers?
I would like to finish off with a few words from a poem I wrote recently. The father and elder brother have brought me to sit on the heavenly court. Those who believe this truth will face eternal bliss.
Thank you. Well, that concludes our show today, and I hope you've enjoyed your time. Make sure to tune in for next week where we will be interviewing a few Native American ghosts as part of the Native American ghost dance movement in the late 19th century America.